Hi, and welcome again to another Satchel class. My name is Mr. Castrillon, and today we're going to be talking about pets. Tengo una mascota. Something really important. This is going to be a key stage 3 Spanish session, but feel free to join us if you're in key stage 4. This is going to be a good kind of review for everyone. What we're going to be doing today is going to be describing our pets, and hopefully by the end of the lesson, you're going to be able to describe your dog or your cats or any animal that you have. Once again, this is a very short lesson, so there are lots of animals that you can use. I've used the more common ones and the ones that I actually have in real life. So if you have different animals, feel free to research and find out how to say those animals in Spanish. In the meantime, let's have a look and see our targets for today. Hoy vamos a repasar algunos animales domésticos en español. Vamos a describirlos. Vamos a traducir oraciones cortas en español. Y vamos a escribir un texto corto describiendo nuestras mascotas. So we have lots of things to do today, and hopefully we'll be able to practice them all. Okay? Now, a couple of things. If you don't understand any of these words, repasar means revise. Hopefully you'll be able to understand what animales domésticos stand for. And if you can't, think of pets. And we're going to describe them. We're going to translate some sentences in Spanish. Also, we're going to write a short text in Spanish describing our pets. So let's start with a pet. Tengo un caballo. Mi caballo es. Now, these are two very important sentences when you are describing the animal you have. The first one, you're saying what animal you have, tengo, which is I have. And then, of course, mi caballo, that's my horse. Caballo. So you can repeat after me so you can get really good pronunciation of this. Caballo. And what is my horse like? Well, there it is. Grande, joven, blanco, bonito. So I have a big horse, a young horse, a white horse, and a beautiful horse. All of these four adjectives are really good when you're describing your pets. Something really important, by the way, is that you need to keep an eye on the actual word, caballo, because if the word is feminine, your adjective will change as long as the adjective has O or A at the end. For instance, blanco and bonito will change into blanca bonita if you are talking about a feminine animal, which we'll do later on today. Now, grande and joven won't change at all. Why? Because they end in different or have different endings. Grande will stay the same and joven will stay the same. But what if you had other words? Let's say you have small or old or intelligent and you want to actually use different words. Well, you can say pequeño if your horse is small or your pet is small. You can say viejo, juguetón. Well, we have young, old, playful, juguetón. This is a very interesting word because it's hard for many of us to pronounce, but we need to practice it a lot. Juguetón. If you are able to use the word in one of your speaking exams, you're going to get lots of marks. Why? Because it's a difficult word to pronounce, but also it's one of those ones that will show how good you are at Spanish. So feel free to remember this one. Take notes of that one. But what about the color? Let's say that I don't have a white horse, but I have a black one, or a gray one, or a brown one. Well, we have blanco, negro, gris, marrón. So we use these words with no problem whatsoever in Spanish. And of course, remember that if you're going to say an animal that is a feminine animal, right, you would have to say blanca, negra. And you need to do that emphasis in Spanish. But what other personality traits or personality kind of factors do we have in Spanish to describe our animals? Well, we have tierno, inteligente, fuerte. We have cute, inteligente. It's very transparent, isn't it? You can actually see what it means. Inteligente. Fuerte means strong. Now, this is a very, very short list of adjectives that you can use to describe your pet. So feel free to get that dictionary or your phone, go on a website to translate any sentences. And the most important thing is take notes of them, play with the words. And even if you make mistakes, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we are learning. and making mistakes is part of the process. Now, let me show you my doggy. Tengo una perra. That's my doggy in real life. Mi perrita se llama Bonnie. So previously I was telling you what my horse looks like or some adjectives to describe my horse, but I can also include the name of my pet and I can use it by saying se llama. So if you want to describe your cat, you can say se llama. Or if you want to describe your horse and your name's horse, you can say se llama. Se llama. Be very careful with that double L because most people think that it's pronounced llama as in the animal, and it's not that pronunciation, it's llama. Now, some countries in South America, for instance, Argentinians, they will do this shama, which is fine, it's absolutely fine, and they understand what you mean if you say llama, shama, llama. So it's kind of a really good thing about Spanish. You can actually say things and people will understand what you're saying. Now, I hope you can see that my perrita, mi perrita, has a different ending to the one that I had at the very beginning with perra. And the reason being is because if we want to make it sound even better than perra, we can say perrita. We are using a diminutive. We are making the word smaller, so to speak. And when you do that, you show a lot of affection. So for instance, if I had, I don't know, a loro, a parrot, I would say lorito. If I have a cat, sorry, you'll see later on how we kind of minimize the word, how make it smaller to make it sound even better than what it actually is. And always remember that the ending needs to match the original ending. So if I had a doggy that was a male doggy, I'm going to write it here for you guys so you can see how it goes. So if I have perro, then I would say something like this. Perrito. Okay, so the ending is very important. I had to use perrita because it's a female dog, and perro is perrito because it's a male dog. And that is the literal translation of doggy. Okay, so we can use adjectives to describe our pets. We can give their names. But what else can we say about our animals? Well, this is my cat in real life. Tengo un gato. Mi gatico, look at what I'm doing there, se llama Willow y tiene 2 meses. Can you guess what I'm saying on the last sentence? Yeah, spot on. I'm saying how old my cat is, and my cat is 2 months old. It's a baby still. And it's very playful, by the way, muy juguetón. And y por ser muy juguetón, it can be a little bit of pain sometimes, but he is a lovely cat. Mi gato se llama Willow y tiene 2 meses y es muy juguetón. And you see, I'm using more sentences and more phrases and words that we learned earlier. So we have adjectives, we can use names, but we can also say what or how old our cat or our pet is. So let's translate some sentences. So I'm going to show you some sentences here, and I would like you to translate them into English. So I have these 4 sentences, these 5 sentences. And what I would like you to do is I want you to take about 3 minutes, 4 minutes to translate them all and try to do as much as you can. Even if you can't translate the whole sentence, feel free to translate everything that you know. And if you can't translate them properly, then my suggestion is try and get a gist of the sentence. So for instance, a doggy called like this, and it's like this, and something about Lucy, who's a very small doggy. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes for you to try and translate as many sentences as you can. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you with the exercise. I'm going to disappear for a bit, and then I'll come back and we'll check the answers. You have 2 minutes left. One more minute left. Well, time is up. I hope you have seen that every sentence turned out to be slightly harder than the one before it. And why is this? Well, because the more we practice, the better it is, and the more language and vocabulary you learn, the better it's going to be for all of us. Now, let's see what they actually mean. I'm going to read them in Spanish first. Tengo un caballo. Mi caballo se llama Diamante. I have a horse. My horse is called Diamond. That's what it means in Spanish. Diamante is diamond. Number two. Tengo una gatica. Mi gatica tiene 8 años y es muy inteligente. I have a little kitten. My little kitten is 8 years old and is very intelligent. And as you can see, I made a slight mistake when I was doing my translation. I said my gatica has, or my little cat, my kitten. Be very careful. That means is, because it's age. And we use tien in Spanish, but use are or is in English. Tengo una perrita que se llama Lucy. Mi perrita es muy pequeña y juguetona. Amo a mi perrita Lucy. I have a little dog, or a doggy, that is called Lucy. My little dog, or my doggy, is very small and playful. Now we have a new sentence here. Amo a mi perrita Lucy. That means I love my doggy Lucy. Tengo un pez llamado Antonio. Mi pez es dorado y verde y vive en una pecera. Antonio tiene 5 meses y le gusta comer semillas. I have a fish called Antonio. My fish is golden and green, and he lives, or it lives, in a fish bowl or a fish tank. Antonio is 5 months old, and he loves and he likes eating seeds. Finally, me encantan los animales. Yo tengo una lora que se llama Julia. Julia puede hablar en 2 idiomas, pero es muy agresiva. I love animals. I have a parrot that is called Julia. Julia can speak in 2 languages, but it is very aggressive. Now, I use the word pero. Remember that when you include these connectors like pero, sin embargo, you're making your sentence even better than what it already is. And why am I using it? Because you can say negative things about your pets, like in this case, my parrot. She's very aggressive. Now, what if we try and write our sentences? Well, let's practice. Now, I've created this very simple chart that goes from easy, medium to hard. And if you are going to make it easy, just say what pets you have and what's your pet's name. Do you want to improve it? Well, say what color your pet is and how old is your pet. And finally, what is your pet's personality like? Is it an intelligent pet? Is it a strong pet, an aggressive one, a lazy one. Just use whatever adjectives you want to use. And in my opinion, if you want to make it even better than what it already is, use diminutive endings to sound more natural. Instead of using perro, say perrito, or gatico, gatica. Now, what if you have other animals? Well, let's have a look. I have loro, lora, mono, mona, araña, iguana, vaca, cerdito, gallina, pollito, toro, burro. Now, these are some words that I kind of came up with whilst I was doing my list, but feel free to include as many animals as you want, always keeping an eye on the masculine and feminine when you're writing your sentences. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds for you to try, or no, actually, I'll give you a couple of minutes for you to try and write as much as you can about your own pet. 2 minutes for that, and I will come back in 2 minutes. You have 1 more minute left. Welcome back. I hope you've done a great job with this really handy chart. Feel free to take a picture of it, or even better, come back to the lesson, look at it, and copy all the vocab that you can, all the words that are new to you. Because, of course, the more words you have, the better it's going to be for you at school. So, if you manage to get here, muy bien. You should be able to remember how to describe your pet. You should be able to translate short sentences into English from Spanish. And finally, you should be able to describe your pet. Remember, when you're using adjectives, they need to match the noun. In other words, the pet that you are going to be talking about. Also, that include a lot of information: the name of your pet, how old your pet is, how old your pet is, and where does your pet live? Does he live? Does it live in a house? Does it live in a fish tank? Does it live outside like a chicken? Feel free to be as creative as you can. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you to check all the notes that you took from this webinar, and I hope I can see you soon. Muchos éxitos. Hasta la vista.